Good afternoon, fellow beekeepers and fellow swarm trappers. I wanted to put out a video as a follow-up to the video that I posted in 1st of January last year where we ended up building swarm traps. So if you saw my last video and you learned how to build these traps, I'm going to follow this up with what we're going to need. So we built a swarm trap. So what do we need now? What kind of materials and what all are we going to need in order to set this trap up and get it ready to catch a swarm? And I'm going to go through each one of these little pieces and explain why we need it, but I'm going to try not to be long-winded so this video is not super long. So anyway, let me go ahead. Let me stop the video, and then I'm going to show you piece by piece. Okay, so here's what I've got, and this is there's so many different ways you can do this, and different people use different items and that sort of thing, but this is what I need. This is what I use whenever I get ready to go out on to set up a swarm trap. Now, so item by item, if you're brand new to swarm trapping and you're wondering, what am I gonna need? I want you to learn from my mistakes in the past. Many times I'd get out there and put a swarm trap up and I would have forgotten an item, and then I'd have to go home and get it and come back, and it kind of got stressful. So I thought, okay, make a list of what you need so I can go get it done and move on to the next one. So what I've got here, this is what I think you're gonna need. This is what I need every time I go put up a trap. I've obviously got a hammer, one nail that's gonna go in the tree that's gonna hold the hanger. I've got some hedge clippers or pruning shears that I use, because sometimes you have to cut little limbs to get them out of your way. I use a brick. I use a ratchet. I use a small sandwich bag with some Swarm Commander, and I'll talk more about that in a little bit. I use a Q-tip or a cotton swab or a cotton ball or something like that. I'm pretty picky about things being level, so I use a level. I bring a screwdriver because I'm going to need that to put the hanger on to the box. And then you're going to need, and this is super important, and I'll talk more about this in a minute, you're going to need a frame of old brood comb. It is probably the most important item when it comes to swarm trapping. So you're going to need that. Talk more about that later. And then for this particular box, you're going to need, let's see, where did I put them? Oh yeah, they're back here. So this box will hold 6 frames. So I've got one with old brood comb, one with just a foundation, and then pretty much an empty one, and then 3 more empty ones. You're going to need a hanger like this, and this is just something that I bought, and I'll explain it more in a little bit. And then last but not least, you may need a ladder. Everybody knows what a ladder looks like, but I've kind of got away from the ladders. I had a little accident last year with the ladder, and so I've got to where I try to just back up with my truck and climb up in the back of it to put these up. So anyway, let me stop the video, and I'll be right back and explain things. Okay, so once I've picked the location that I want to put a swarm trap, and what you want to do is you want to try to get it up on a tree or a post. They say the higher you go, the better. And when I first started swarm trapping, I would use a ladder and I would climb up and I'd put that swarm trap about 10 to 15 feet in the air. Getting it up there is one thing, but then when you go back at night and it's got a full swarm in it and it's pretty heavy and you're climbing, 10, 15 feet in the air with a ladder, and then you're taking down a heavy box that weighs, I don't know, with bees in it, 20 pounds, 25 pounds, I really don't know. And you're trying to carry that down a ladder. That just got to be one of the most taxing and scary, most dangerous things for me. So I kind of quit doing that. So what I've done is, what I do now is I've caught just as many swarms, from a lower, I've caught swarms anywhere from 5 feet, just sitting out on my back porch, 5 feet off the ground, up to 10, 12, and 15. So even though they do say, the professionals say that the higher they are, the better the chance, and that's probably the case. If I've put out, 10 swarm traps a season, I'm generally catching 7 to 8 swarms, and I've done fairly well without having to get up to the top of the power line pole to get it done. And later on, I may show you a small picture of what I did to my hands last year, or 2 years ago, when I was trying to put a swarm trap up with a ladder on a tree, and the ladder flipped out from under me, but that may not be a good thing to show because it's got a little blood on it. But anyway, the first thing that you're gonna need to get this process going is, once you have found where you want to go, and you want this swarm trap to be kind of maybe on the edge of a wood line up on a tree. You want the entrance to the swarm trap to be facing south-southeast. So once you've determined this, it's going to determine which side you're going to hang the box on the tree and where you're going to put your hanger on the tree. The first thing you want to do, and I'm not going to try to insult anybody's intelligence, but once you figure out what side of the tree your swarm trap's going to go, you're going to use your nail, you're going to use your hammer, and you're going to go up there and you're going to put this hammer in the tree. You're going to put this nail in the tree, and that's where your hanger is going to be. After you've got that established, then you're going to put your this homemade hanger on the side of your swarm trap, whatever side you need it on. It's going to be on the right or the left. And basically, this is nothing but scrap wood again. It's just scrap plywood. In fact, it's 1, 2. There's no measurements. You make it how you want to. You're basically building this so that way when it sits on the trap, it's going to be screwed into the side of the trap, and you've got an offset enough so that the lid of the trap will be able to go down. So you're going to need that. So this is obviously going to be up against the tree, and it's going to be screwed into the trap. So once you've done it, but don't, you can go ahead and screw this on if you want to, while you're working, because it's not going to be in the way. And you may want to go ahead and do that. So let's just say I went ahead and put it on there. Now I've got it ready. You want to put it down about halfway, but that's just going to hold it up there until you get it strapped onto the tree. Let me pause for a second. Pruning shears, we all know what these are for. There are a couple of times where I found the perfect tree, but it's got a few little limbs in my way, and I've tried to break on my hands, and that usually gets to be a hassle, so I've learned to carry some pruning shears with me and just clip, clip, get them off and get them out of the way. So that's what the pruning shears are for. All right, so I've got the hanger on there, and I'm ready to put this swarm trap together to catch some bees. This is what I'm going to need for the inside. I hope you remember us building this trap. We built it. This is my 3 coats of exterior paint on there. This is my, what I call improved entrance for me. Hopefully if you watch the other video, you know what I'm talking about. I cannot stress enough how important it is to have a frame of old brood comb for your swarm trap. Let me change this camera. This is getting on my nerves. If you're new to beekeeping or new to swarm trapping, you have got to be able to use, now I'm not saying that a swarm won't move in your box without this, but I am saying that having a frame of old brood comb greatly increases the chances of a swarm wanting to move in, because this right here, this is basically creating a home environment, creating an apartment that's already furnished for them. I mean, this is the couch, this is the recliner, this is the kitchen table, this is everything they need to set up house. So you want to go ahead and get a brood. If you don't have any, and you're close to some other beekeepers, beg, borrow, don't steal, but go to them and say, I want to put up a swarm trap. Do you happen to have an old frame of brood comb that I can borrow or have, or maybe they'll sell it to you? Old wax comb, once you get to be a beekeeper, you learn that the old comb is very valuable to you and to other bees, because this is just some comb that they're not going to have to use their own resources and their time to build. It's already ready to go. So when a swarm moves in, this is ready for the queen. After the girls kind of clean it up a little bit, it's ready for the queen to start laying eggs. They don't have to wait for someone to bring anything in. It's ready to go. So you want to have at least one, and really probably only one, because once you fill up the rest of the space in there with a couple of empty frames, you want them to feel like there's plenty of space in there, plenty of room in there for them to set up shop. So we're going to use an old piece of comb. Get an old piece of brood comb. You don't want honey in it. You don't want anything else in it. Don't use one last year that's got some honey in it, because then you're just going to invite ants and all that kind of thing. You just want some empty brood comb. So we're going to end up, we're going to put that empty brood comb, you want to try to put it right in the middle. Now this particular box is going to hold 6 frames, so obviously I can't have it right in the middle, because right in the middle is between 3 and 3. But I'm going to put it in the middle, and then I'm going to go ahead and use another frame. Now this frame has some blank foundation on it. I like to go ahead and do that because that gives them another head start to get started on the next frame. So I'm going to put that one down right next to the one that I just put in there. And then I've got another one here. So this one's totally empty. There ain't no foundation. That did happen to have that teardrop of one that started building last year. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in next to it. And I'm not gonna show you me just putting in a bunch of frames. But anyway, then I've got 3 empty frames right here that I'm gonna go ahead and place down in there. And that's gonna be 6 frames in there. One brood comb that's already ready for them to go. And then a couple of, another foundation for them to start working on, because you would be amazed when a swarm comes in how quickly they start building that new comb. And by putting in that one already established brood comb, she can go to start laying and working in it as quick as possible, while the others go ahead and start working on the other frames. And you will be amazed at how quickly they can build comb out. So let's say I've got all 6 in there, okay? My next step that I do is, now this is just me, I use a little sandwich bag, and then I get a Q-tip or possibly a cotton ball. I take this sandwich bag. I actually probably had some scissors or a knife, but I chew off, which is dangerous because I don't want to inhale plastic, but you chew off the corner. Just have a little corner thing, because when it comes down to it, this product right here, and I'll talk about this in a little bit, this is Swarm Commander, or if you use lemongrass oil, I have heard that you can use too much of this. This is one of those situations where, it's not, you can have too much of a good thing. Well, this is basically the situation. They don't want it too strong. And I haven't asked them. They haven't told me that. This is just what research shows. My first couple of years, I was spraying a buttload of this stuff. And I think I was scaring some of them off. So I've learned to scale back a little bit. Just a little bit is all they need. So anyway, you're going to take your bag and cut out a little corner, not big enough that the Q-tip fall out. And you're going to take your Swarm Commander. Now, once again, this is my 3rd or 4th year using Swarm Commander. I am in no way affiliated to them. I just absolutely love their product. And at the end of this video, or down there in the bottom, I'll put a link to where you can order some of this. You can get it off Amazon or through Blythe Beewood. Anyway, I'll put a link to the bottom to where you can go and get some. It's probably, I can't remember if this was about 18 or 20 bucks, and this is just a 2-ounce bottle. And if I put out about 10 swarm traps a year, this one right here has lasted me, this has been my 3rd season using this bottle. So unless you're just putting out a buttload of swarm traps, I think a 2-ounce should do you. And some people may say, well, it's kind of expensive. Well, I'll be honest with you, it's a lot cheaper than buying a package of bees, and I ain't knocking that, and someday I may end up selling bees. But I'm just saying, if you swarm trap and you're catching swarms, use Swarm Commander or lemongrass oil. But anyway, I'm gonna take that Q-tip. I'm gonna squirt both ends of the Q-tip, or if I'm using a cotton ball, I'll squirt a squirt on the cotton ball. Put that down in the sandwich bag like this. Seal it up. You remember, you got that little hole right there. And then I'm gonna come to my swarm trap. Obviously this is the front. I'm gonna place this bag with my Q-tip on the top of the back of the frame. So I've got it laying on top at the back of the frames. And that's gonna be my bait right there. Now remember, I've got brood comb, 5 other frames in here. I'm gonna lay that on top. I've got it sprayed with 1 squirt of Swarm Commander, or you can use lemongrass oil. I've never tried lemongrass oil, but I've heard people have great success with that as well. I'm gonna put that on there, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put my top down. Now, I've got my box essentially baited and ready to go. It's got everything in it that it needs. And let's just say that I've got this right here. I've decided that I need to hang it on this side of the tree, so I'm going to screw that in the side. And I'll be honest with you, I've got another video I did last year of swarm trap placement and how to put this up there on the tree, so I'm not going to go into major detail about this. But once you get this on here, you're going to end up crawling on the back of your truck, not crawling, standing on the back of your truck, or if you have to use a ladder, you're going to go up and you're going to hang that box. You're going to hang that box on that nail that we've nailed up in the tree earlier, because notice I got a little hole in there, and that's going to hold that swarm trap stable while you are getting it adjusted. Now my screwdriver that I said I had to use this. I put it in my little list. That's to use to put this base on the swarm trap. All right, so I've got the swarm trap baited. It's ready to go. I've got all the frames in it. I've got it hanging on the tree. Now, I'm kind of picky about this. Some people may think, well, you're an idiot because you're being too picky. I use a level. I just like to use a level. And I make sure that my trap, I usually put it down on the bottom of the trap when it's hanging in the tree. And I make sure that it's level front to back. And then I may go to the side. Well, ain't no may to it, I do. And then I go front to back and make sure that it's you know, level always. Any way it needs to be. I make sure that it has been leveled up. Now, I've got it level, I've got it baited, and I've got it ready. I use a ratchet strap. Now, this is not the right color. This is red. I actually am trying to be a little more, sort of sneaky, not sneaky, stealthy, I don't know. I'm trying to camouflage these a little bit better. I haven't had trouble with anybody messing with mine, but some people do. You're gonna put that ratchet strap around it, and you're gonna cinch it down, get it snug to that tree. You may have to put a couple of sticks and stuff in between. So the trees are over here, okay? Trap's right here, trees right here. You may have to put a couple of sticks in between here to make it to where you get the box level. Maybe that makes sense. If it doesn't, maybe you can watch my other video on swarm trap placement and setup. The only thing I didn't like about that video, it was terribly windy that day, and I don't know how the audio turned out okay. But anyway, I've got it up there, I've got it baited, and then I go ahead and throw my trusty brick. Obviously, you can use anything you want to. On top of it, I get it centered on there just in case some critter, I don't know if raccoons or whatever, decide they want to take a look in it and see what's in it, or they may smell it. I don't want anything to take the lid off or a storm to come along and blow it off. So I throw a brick on top of it, and it's ready to go. And then I'll do one more thing right before I leave. When I've got it down there, I'm ready to go. I will go right in there, and I'll use my trusty swarm commander, and I'll do one spray at the entrance, just right up in there at the entrance, just one. Don't hit it too hard because you don't need too much. And that trap is ready to go, and then I leave. And I will go back to that trap every few days, especially during swarm season, just to double check and watch and see if we've got some scout bees hitting it and that sort of thing. If I haven't really, if it's swarm season and a swarm hasn't moved in after a couple of weeks, I'll probably go back with my swarm commander and I'll do another squirt at the entrance just to do a little freshen up job. You know how, basically just to freshen up the entrance. I don't ever break it open and go and redo the spray on the inside, because it's usually by then it's probably worn down to about the amount of scent that it's going to need. But it doesn't hurt to every once in a while go back and give it a refresher up in the entrance. And then I just keep a check on it. I'm hoping that this year, about another week or so, I'm hoping to start putting out some of my first swarm traps. And I'm hoping that the first swarm that I get in one of them, that I may get my wife to come along and video. And I'll do a video on how to tell if there's really a swarm in there. You don't always have to crack them open to look down in there to see if there's a swarm in there. You can generally tell by the bees that are going in and out of it. You know, if they're still, looks like they're scouting around the outside and checking measurements, then they're probably not in there. But if you see bees coming in and out and they're carrying some pollen, that's pretty much them bringing in groceries to the home, is the way I look at it. So if they're bringing in pollen, or if they're flying in and out and going off somewhere with a purpose, then more than likely you've got a swarm in there and you're ready to get it down. I don't usually let it stay up there a couple of days after I realize there's a swarm in it. But if I can, I'll do a video of the first swarm that I catch in one of these boxes, of how I close it up and how I bring it down and how I retrieve it and move it to the new location, and then eventually getting the swarm over to a permanent box. So maybe I can get that done on the first swarm we catch this year. If you have any questions on what you need, please send me a comment or a question. I'll be glad to get back with you. So let me go over the list one more time. If you're a person that writes down lists, you're gonna need a hammer, you're gonna need a nail, you're gonna need the hanger, and you're just gonna have to build this out of some old scrap lumber. You just wanna make sure it pushes off far enough to get the lid on. You're going to need, like I said, a hammer, nail. You need a screwdriver to put the hanger onto the trap. You're gonna need 6 frames. One of them, especially at least one of them, needs to have old brood comb, but don't fill it up with 5 frames of brood comb, because you want them to fill when they get in there. that it's open and spacious and they've got all this room. But you do want to give them a head start with that one front brood comb. You're going to need, I'll bring some pruning shears in case you got some small limbs that are in your way. You're going to need a ratchet to snug it up to the tree. Then you're going to need the plastic sandwich bag, a Q-tip or a cotton ball, and then the lure itself. And I use Swarm Commander. Some people use lemongrass oil. Then you're going to need a brick to go on top and possibly a level, because I like to level things, and possibly a ladder if you like to climb up on things and live dangerously. I mean, I was only about 3 or 4 feet off the ground, now about 5 or 6 feet off the ground when I had a little fall, so I kind of quit using those. Anyway, listen, I appreciate you watching the video. Hopefully this will help someone. And like I said, if you got any questions, just send me a link, put a question in the comment section, and I'll usually get back with you pretty quick. And if you want to see a follow-up video on us retrieving a swarm and getting it to the apiary and getting it in a permanent hive, then hopefully we'll get to do that within the next 2 or 3 weeks, a month at the most. I'm hoping to catch a swarm before then. But anyway, listen, thank you again for watching. Just want to wish you good luck beekeeping and good luck swarm trapping. See you later.